imagine that we started off with a set amount of energy here, and we share this vibration, we share this frequency. There's only a certain amount of energy here, and you are manipulating the energy to go either to the left or to the right, meaning it's good or evil, plus or minus, positive or negative, right? And you're taking these different mechanisms of source altering codes or sorcery or a source alteration through different rituals that you're doing to create a different type of energy or to move the energy in a certain way so that it will work in your favor, so that you will have power. The currency, basically, or the capitalism of energetic frequencies that exist here, moving it all in one direction to benefit a set group of people, right? And instead, you're suppressing the actual light beings who run the realm, meaning the people who keep the machine going. By doing various rituals and different things in order to move the light or to move the energy or to move the currency in a certain direction so it can benefit only a set group of people. Like, for instance, what is going on in the news with the diddler, okay? A lot of people are looking at this at face value, and it's not face value at all. You're getting a glimpse of what it takes in order to move the currency or the energy in a certain direction to benefit a certain group of people. Who cares about who all is at the top and who is the top dog and this and that and the other? What you're seeing in plain sight now is the actual mechanisms that are used in order to move that energy. So that set amount of energy is being manipulated on either one side or the other. It's either going to the negative or the positive, right? These people believe that by using this type of source altering magic or these spells or these different mechanisms by which they move the energy, that they can themselves harness all of this energy by suppressing the photon light beings that are actually running the system by reincarnating through the moon machine and keeping everything going with the magnetic resonance, right? However, they are not factoring in mathematically how any of this is working on a shared energy level. So they themselves have been pulling all of the energy into a negative space, not realizing that even the false light that has been created, and false light, I mean, is basically the charities that are created that are masking much darker, deeper, darker secrets, which I can get into, or you're talking about the celebrity worship, which is very faulty to begin with. So what is false light? False light is pretending to be something or pretending or showcasing that you're doing good, meaning that you're doing charity. However, on the other side of that charity, there's a deeper, darker thing going on versus it coming from the heart chakra in purity and it being done out of love. It is masked as good. And also the celebrity worship, which is getting people to flock behind an individual and give all of their energy and screaming praise, right? They believe that these showcases of false light were actually balancing out the negative light or the underhanded light that they were doing. However, it simply does not work like that. Energy is pure. So unless you are magnifying the actual pure energy, meaning that your heart is pure and true, it doesn't matter how much you fake or you front in front of cameras. It's going to affect the balance. Celebrity worship is also a form of false light, meaning that just because you can get people to worship or to scream or to cry after you or to have a good time at a concert doesn't necessarily mean that that's a positive light. A lot of that comes from a broken place within other people, which is why it's so easy for them to be canceled, because a lot of times people are looking at them in a awe basically of something that I can never obtain, and a lot of that is built on the brokenness of an individual inside versus them looking for what they are seeking within themselves to be their own star. They're looking at someone else that is embodying something that they feel they can't have. So this is why it's so easy for celebrity appearances to collapse when they do anything, because it is built on a false premise that this is some type of light, when in actuality it is false light. You simply cannot fake energy. You cannot fake the light. It's either you have the light or you don't. It's either you're emanating it from the heart chakra or you don't. So if you pretend to be giving back, if you pretend to be telling the truth, if you pretend to be doing one thing with your right hand while your left hand is doing another, the energy is going to be projected. It does not matter how much you pretend. You have to actually embody the energy for it to be real. It needs to actually emanate in order for it to be something real. So what we're talking about is a deep, dark deficit of red, meaning that we are in a negative energy, meaning that we started out, as you can see from this diagram, we started out with a set amount of energy, which was created when the initial grid was created. And over time, through all of these source or sorcery alterations, we have come to a place where we are in a negative deficit. So because we are in an energy deficit and because everything is threatening the balance to destroy this realm, meaning that we're going all the way into the red because we have a group of people that wanted all the energy for themselves, but they didn't understand how to properly balance it. Using false light is not enough. You have to actually emanate that energy, or you have to physically balance that energy, which is why when we have this great solar flare, there's not going to be an ability to fake what is real, meaning that you're going to have to confess and you're going to have to go through the heart chakra where Ma is at or be my at in order for you to survive this, because it's all about a frequency match. It has absolutely nothing to do with your false perception of yourself and who you think you are. It's more so what you embody energetically, and whether your physical photon light body is a match for that sun's energy. That has absolutely nothing to do with any outward appearance whatsoever. The entire reason why the man-child is being born is out of a need to set balance. Yes, it's prophecy, but it's also brought about by an extreme negative deficit that has been created on the photon light beings that are here, meaning that they feel oppressed. And whether people realize it or not, you can be going about your normal business and you could even be somewhat successful within this matrix. However, you're going to have these subconscious symptoms, meaning that you are not going to recognize the symptoms of your oppression, thinking that you are free, and you're going to indulge in other things in other ways, like overconsumption, or you're going to overindulge in things, or you're going to be manifesting this in another way that you don't completely understand. Is because we are all oppressed in this system. And because we are oppressed, this is the reason why you have this great light that is getting ready to enter into the system to balance out the energy. It's a math equation. They didn't know that this was how this was going to go, and they were just doing what they felt was best and altering this source code and creating this currency of energy and pushing it to one select group of people so that they could have all this power. But what they were also doing was oppressing the photon light beings here. So now you have this great energy that's coming in to equalize, and the sun, S-O-N, and the sun, S-U-N, will be the great equalizer, meaning that you're going to be met with an energy that is going to reset the mathematics. So the math that initially was set within this matrix is now going to balance itself, because you have this group of people that were pulling everything down into a black hole or a negative red deficit, not truly accounting for the energy that they were changing within a shared energetic system. So it does not matter at the end of the day whether you put a golden dome up there. You can put some golden saran wrap. It's not going to change anything, because this is a matter of photon light. You can't fake the light. You can't put any additional light in the system that doesn't exist, because it's all on a preset numerical value. And that means it's shared amongst the photon light beings here. We all share the energy because we are all connected, okay? And what affects one of us affects all of us. And as a whole, we are oppressed through this system. So it is going to mathematically balance itself out in this equation. The grid is very tight, and the magnetic resonance and the energy that we share within this magnetic sphere is going to balance the mathematics out one way or another, okay? And this has absolutely nothing to do with anything physical you could ever possibly do, because it is based on the energetic beings that exist here and their oppression.